What is going on, y'all? KMBest here. I think that everyone is building and playing the best deck in the game exactly wrong. Now, you've probably, hopefully, seen my video breaking down both of the Thanos builds, and I gotta tell you, people are jamming Surge in the Thanos Strange Supreme deck. I'm just not seeing it. Every time I play the Thanos Strange Supreme deck, what I realize is I would always rather be playing the ongoing Thanos build. And I wanted to talk about why and give you a breakdown on how to play this deck and why I think that. Fundamentally, the draw of the Strange Supreme Thanos build is that it is a souped up version of a Serra control deck. You have a lot of reactive and powerful tech alongside a very, very powerful shell that is the Thanos core right now. Strange Supreme, Sam Wilson, you have these scalers that get large, you have interaction like Cosmo, you have Shang-Chi, you just kind of have a bunch of tools to deal with a bunch of things. In addition, you have some inbuilt counterplay to matchups that may be problematic. Cosmo and Strange Supreme are quite good against something like Clog, for example, which otherwise is problematic for Thanos. However, every single time I play it, one thing stands out. You do not need a tech card to invalidate your opponent's power. Yes, when you play Shang-Chi and it blows up a 10 power card, that's awesome. It's 13 power for 4 energy. It's super sick. It's a very cool thing to do. But you know what else invalidates a 10 power card? Having 30 power in that lane. And that is what ongoing Thanos is built to do in a way that is genuinely more, not necessarily flexible, but more applicable to a curve out game plan with less reactive hit or miss stuff. This is a deck that will consistently output power, massive amounts of power. And you're giving up on some of that reactive stuff, but your Wiccan is on more, you are playing a better curve, you are having a more balanced and straightforward game plan, and frankly, I genuinely just think that everyone is kind of addicted to the other Thanos because it's a little bit like training wheels. So, hopefully this video will teach you to ride a bike and learn to not be scared of things like Killmonger and Enchantress. They're not the end of the world. Baseline, Ant-Man, straight up a 1-5. Sometimes you're going to make it even bigger with cards like Blue Marvel and Spectrum. You care a lot about curving out. Having one drop in here in addition to all of the stones makes your Wiccan a lot more accessible, with 7 out of your deck being extremely relevant on turn 1. Note, you're not always going to be playing Reality Stone, for example, but maybe 6, we can say, out of the deck being extremely relevant in solid turn 1 plays. This is just a very good card for a deck that is very often filling up the board, and it is quite important to note that this is basically like the smallest number of a card that you will put in your deck. And so when we talk about the stuff like Shang-Chi and invalidating things with power, the fact that this is like the weakest card in our deck and it's a 1-5 that gets bigger with other synergies, giving points to Goliath, getting points from Spectrum, it just sort of demonstrates what I'm talking about when it comes to the absolute scale of power this deck can bring to bear. This might sound a little ridiculous. I kind of think Goliath was the best card released last season. Everyone slept on him. Everyone realized that Thanos was broken when Strange Supreme came out. But I feel like we've basically been on a build that is this or similar to this since Goliath's release. And he's a huge part of that. Yes, Strange Supreme gets bigger. I'm not going to sit here and argue that. But Goliath does so in a way that is synergistic with your other stuff, where Strange Supreme is selfish. This is an ongoing card. You want to be playing those because of your other cards that synergize with ongoing cards. You don't want to be eating your stones because you want to be playing your Mockingbird. Things like that just make this deck flow a little bit easier because your carry is selfless instead of selfish. I think Dazzler is probably a good time to talk about Killmonger. There are not a ton of people playing Killmonger right now. And as such, I don't really see the need to be incredibly worried about it. But if you think you're going to get Killmongered, it is okay to leave. It's just, you shouldn't really expect it out of whatever. If it happens, it happens. And you have to accept that there is a risk of that when you play a deck like this. That's fine, though. Like, I want to be super, super clear. Right now, the other Thanos deck is kind of protecting you from Killmonger because it's not as good into a Strange Supreme as it is against this deck. And so you have a sort of positioning advantage where people that would be running Killmonger, if more people were, in my opinion, correctly playing this, aren't. Sam Wilson's goated. This is 2 ongoing bodies for your Goliath, 2 ongoing bodies for your Blue Marvel, 2 ongoing bodies for your Spectrum. Very, very obviously a thing that you want to be doing. There's really nothing else to say about this. It discounts Mockingbird. It's just great. The 3-cost Tech Brothers of Cosmo and Mobius M. Mobius are both cards that you get extra benefit out of. Stop me if you've heard this before, because they are ongoing cards. The thing that makes this deck so special is that all of the pieces work together. Everything helps everything else. And cards like Cosmo are incredibly useful in a metagame that is full of people who are playing a lot of tech cards. You're going to want to protect your stuff. When you have a location that doubles your ongoing abilities, get that Cosmo in there early. That's a very important part of how this deck is meant to play out. Cosmo and Mobius, figuring out which one is right for the matchup, figuring out your timing on when you want to play them. All of that stuff is very, very important, but fundamentally, this is a deck that can afford to play these cards in large part because it works with the package as a whole. You get free value out of playing this. In a game where you play Goliath and Spectrum, Cosmo is effectively a 3/6. That's awesome. Perhaps the most relevant tech card in the entire metagame right now, Mobius M. Mobius is seeing a ton of play across a wide variety of decks. This is, of course, a deck that uses him better than most, similar to a Silver Surfer list where you are getting something extra out of him. That's a very important aspect of being a good Mobius deck. But frankly, I've seen him in decks that aren't good Mobius decks because of Surge, because of Sarah, because of Mr. Negative, because of Esme Kaku, because of all of these things that are happening right now. And I think that this being a very good Mobius deck is a large part of why you'd want to play it. Speed is a very solid card here, but far from irreplaceable. I think you could very easily, let's say you don't want to go buy speed to play this deck. There are some cards that are not replaceable. There are some cards that are. If you want to replace speed with normal Captain America, I think that is a perfectly acceptable thing to do. However, I do think speed is in large part better because we do not have a lot of efficiency per board space. And this is a deck that will test you on that. Being able to get the most out of your board spaces, to plan ahead and say, what is it that I can invest in this lane that will make it so that I can win against what they are likely to play here? And having something that goes tall in one board space is actually more of a luxury than you think, because Thanos is typically gated to around, let's say Thanos himself is 12, a good Spectrum is 13. You're not going to be able to add a ton more than that to lanes late in the game. And so using your spaces efficiently, which speed does a little bit better than Captain America, I think it does matter. Wiccan is kind of goated. Like, he's basically your snap condition if he's on. I realize a lot of the time he just shows up in your opening hand and then, like, points and laughs when you play a 1-drop on 1 and then whiff your 2-drop. Happens to me all the time, but you just basically get to run him as a free roll. When he happens, he's awesome. When he doesn't happen, you just do something else. It's pretty much fine. You're never going to be in a position where you're like, Wiccan, man. I mean, you're probably going to be in that position a lot because he's going to show up in your opening hand and then just like mock you brutally as you fail to activate him. But, you know, other than that, one of the really unique things about this deck is the way it can add power to closed off locations. This is not just via Space Stone and Thanos, but Goliath getting larger, Blue Marvel, of course, as we see on the screen, Dazzler getting larger, Sam Wilson's shield moving around. All of that stuff lets you be very unpredictable with where your power is. It makes you pretty good into locations like Kiln. It makes you pretty good into locations that are generally going to be closed off if you can get into them first. It's a very relevant thing to do. And frankly, just putting a bunch of power on the board is what Blue Marvel does. If you have a full board, this is an extremely, extremely powerful card. That's 14 points of power, plus whatever you're getting out of him being an ongoing. Spectrum is an excellent top end in this deck. This deck has really been waiting for multiple good 2-drop ongoings, and with Sam Wilson and Goliath coming in quick back-to-back-ish manner, it's been a really solid addition to this list. Spectrum, of course, is the thing that makes you want to play ongoing cards, the thing that makes you excited to put power into these locations across the board. Spectrum is also a card that gets a lot better if you have Wiccan, because being able to like go, 5-drop, 2-drop the turn before Spectrum, and then like 1-drop Spectrum, you're filling up the board for sure. You're getting like 20-something power out of Spectrum. This is like an infinite dispersed across your whole board. It's really strong. Thanos staple Mockingbird is here to literally just be a cheap beat stick. She will cost 2, she will cost 3, she will cost 0. That's what you do with Mockingbird. You play your stones, and then she rewards you for doing the thing you already want to do. Now, when you do play this card, keep Mobius in mind. You might want to just get her on the board earlier, then a Mobius can stop you from doing so. You might not like it, but this is what peak Thanos performance looks like. Bananos. Of course, Thanos is and has been one of the best decks in the game for a while, but I wanted to dive into the back and forth between ongoing and tech and give you a little bit of my unfiltered thoughts on it, because fundamentally, I think this deck is better constructed, goes together better, and is not necessarily a straight up better deck. It does win the mirrors. That's really important. I do think it is a better deck, but it's not going to be a better deck for everyone. And I think a large part of that is the other deck is easier to understand. There's not as much fluidity in your play patterns. There's not as much, okay, if I put 8 points here and then 11 points here, will I be able to beat what this deck is likely to play? It's much more straightforward. You have a Strange Supreme and you Cosmo the Strange Supreme lane, and then you use your tech cards to win another lane. There's not as much knowledge required. It's just, is this working? Yes or no. And I think that's one of the major reasons why I prefer this build of Thanos and other people do not. I will say, though, I would consider this incredibly rewarding to learn. It's one of the most fun decks in the game, and I cannot say enough good things about it. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I have been KMBest. We're about to jump into some gameplay. You have been phenomenal, and I will see you in the next one. I love Wiccan taunting me. Holy shit. It's fine. He's still gonna be taunting. Don't worry. Yeah. Here's where we whiff on either a 3 or a 1, which is so much of our game. Why are we snapping this? We don't have good things on the Nexus. We actually just lose to like various ongoing shenanigans here, no? Like the card Iron Man just ruins our entire life? And we've drawn 0 stones? Oh. Ah, weird. How did he know? Really? Bro. Crazy. Does this make sense? Okay, does this beat me? What can they do that beats me here? Doom? Does Doom actually beat me? I don't know. I don't like that they... Oh, I don't like any of what just happened there, man. That feels bad. Let's fucking go, chat. I was horrified that entire time. If I had lost that, I would have cried. But if you were trying to be mean, let me know. You know, it's always useful information. I promise not. I do not know the name of the song before this one. I hope he doesn't run Killmonger. My phone died. Okay, hold on, chat. I've got to go grab my, I gotta grab my charger. Jesus Christ. Kitty Friday. Got the can. Probably a Mystique down there if I had to guess. Looking to copy an Iron Man. Hello. Why, yes, I would like to Cosmo your face down location. I would love to. It'd be my honor and my pleasure. I think I should put myself ahead here. And then it's a Mystique in there. Yeah. Yeah, I fucking bet it's a Mystique in there, dude. I fucking bet it's a Mystique in there, dude. Yeah. Yeah. I fucking bet it's a Mystique in there, dude. Oh. Oh. Not a great hand. Taunting me. But I just top deck a one drop here. Surely. Ah. Well. Let's see. Noted. Can't goblin this lane, but they can debris. And I'm not really sure how I'm meant to interpret this. Is this the debris? Makes sense. We're not gonna wait, hold on. Do they win? I'm kind of genuinely curious. Oh, they have my Thanos. That is a problem. Eat that Pym arrow. Wait a minute, it eats the Pym arrow. What the shit? The thirstiest. Mastery 30 Sauron. Hell yeah, brother. Hop off, King. You know what? It's chill. Safety room. Let's go. World's safest room. I don't know if people know that. Really? They snapped me. What's that about? Cool. I mean, surely this doesn't just work, right? Bang! 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 Let's fucking go, dude. I actually forgot that I turned Thanos on. The hood. Alright, so what are you hooding up? What's the move? You have bounce times, you have clog times. What's the dealio? Did we get a stone here, by the way? Double wicking is not. I realize they could be clogging me, but I have so much additional points. Okay, it's the bounce. Alright, we're gonna have a point saw. That's a crazy one. I have to do this, don't I? I genuinely don't actually have a choice, do I? Do I have a choice? I'm gonna say I have a choice. Nico blows up the middle. That would be relevant if I wasn't getting 10x. Oh, I'm also drawing some cards? Nice. I think I'm supposed to snap this. But it's possible I just go like this instead. They're never going to be able to redistribute that power. They've already falconed. So whatever's happening here just is happening here. Cool guys. I hope you like them, but that beast ain't happening. That beast ain't happening. So at 25, I think we beat that demon. I was pretty sure when I had that in mind that that was their max power. Thwack. We do be thwacking them. We do be thwacking them. So weird. Is that not weird? Why wouldn't you Laufey the middle? I mean, yeah, but like, what was the logic? Was he cognizant of Cosmo? What was going on? I'm about to get mowed. Cry myself to sleep. Wait, what? What's happening here? Alright, it's official. I have no idea what this is. Yeah, it's Pixie Scar. You say that like it's like a thing I should be aware of. Nice Goliath. I would Cosmo the left, which is why I'm doing this. Whack! Mobius. Crazy! Interesting! Oh, God, the worst hand of all time. It immediately got better. How many channel points do I need to make you play a deck? I mean, you're just gonna make me play ongoing Thanos again, right? That's what I would do if I were you. Yo, it's Mobin time. No? What piece of shit are you gonna try to get me to play? What absolute turbo ass garbage are you gonna try to pass off on the little KMBest? It's Stomper is not at. Alright. I don't like that they snapped me. I'm not leaving. Wait, what the fuck? Oh, Mobius, you beast! It snapped an anti-venom. Let's fucking go, dude. Guess who's mind stoning to prevent his shit from getting fucking Red Guardian? It's me. Surely we draw reality and snap back. In the sense that we are 50% to do that, yes. So when you say surely we do this, in the sense that we do it about 50% of the time. Random rogue, though. I honestly already was kind of thinking about putting this over here. Just because we'll need the numbers there. Sure, why not? Yeah, we didn't get rid of it. Alright. Yeah. You thought I was blowing that shit up. Not doing that. Not doing that shit at all. There are a couple of open questions as to what we are doing, though. Like, what the fuck is that thing? I think we can get shit on if that is D-bag. I don't think we beat D-bag. D-back plays for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're 13 to 14, 17. We would lose 6. We go to 6. Right? Or we go to 7. Lose 6. We need 10 over there. Spectrum right beat that. 11. I think so. The problem is we have to then play this guy middle. I think it's this, if it's anything. Why are they roping? That's a good question. Who can say? It's an ink, by the way. This person I don't trust. I don't either. But yeah, they're doing the math, right? So that is definitely a... Yeah? World's most... Wow, it was Red G the whole time. Okay. World's least feedback.